quadratic functions and their graphs. So here we have f of x equal to mx plus b. This is a straight line. And we have f of x equal to ax squared plus bx plus c. This is parabola. So here on left we have this graph. This graph is upward, and this is when a is greater than 0. So a is coefficient of x squared. And here this line that is called axis of symmetry and is x equal to h. So this is x. And assume that that point is h. So x equal to h, that is axis of symmetry, and vertex is this point, and that is h comma k. And minimum is the y coordinate of the vertex. So that is minimum. And we have to find what y is. So here is what we have on y-axis. And now here on the right side we have this graph, and this is downward. We have downward if a less than 0, a again is coefficient of x squared. Here we have maximum point. Maximum is what we have for y on y-axis for y coordinate of the vertex. So vertex is this point h comma k, and maximum here for y we have k. And here this line is axis of symmetry, and again x equal to h. Graph the following functions, label the vertex, and draw the axis of symmetry. The first one we have f of x equal to x squared. Let y equal to f of x. So this is y equal to x squared. Here we have x, here we have y. For x, I'm using -2, -1, 0, 1, 2. You can have any number, but I'm using these 5. Our power for x is greater than 1, so this is not a straight line. It's better to have 5 points to be able to graph. So x is -2, -2 squared is 4, -1 squared 1, 0 squared 0, 1 squared 1, 2 squared 4. So we have these 5 points, connect these and graph. So vertex is what we have for minimum. So this is vertex, and that is 0, 0. Axis of symmetry is this vertical line crossing vertex, so crossing 0, 0. So axis of symmetry is x equal to what we have here on this part. So x equal to 0 is axis of symmetry. I use AOS for axis of symmetry. Number 2, f of x equal to x squared plus 2. So here again I have -2, -1, 0, 1, 2 for x. So we have -2 squared plus 2, that is 6. -1 squared is 1 plus 2 is 3. 0 squared is 0 plus 2 is 2. 1 squared plus 2 is 3. And 2 squared is 4, 4 plus 2 is 6. So we have all these 5 points, finding these and then connect all to graph f of x based on what we have here. Vertex is the minimum point that we have here is that point, and that is our vertex, so it's 0, 2. And axis of symmetry is this vertical line crossing vertex, and that is what we have for x here in vertex. X is equal to 0. So that is axis of symmetry. Number 3, f of x equal to x minus 3 squared. Here I use these points 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I didn't use -2. If I use -2, I will have -2 minus 3, -5, -5 squared. I will have 25. So we'll have -2, 25, and then using 2 minus 3, we're going to have -1 squared is +1. So that way I'm not able to graph here on this part, so I'm not using that large number. And also I can say that what I have here inside, it's x minus 3. So x minus 3 equal to 0. What is x? X is positive 3. So I'm using this point here in the middle, and I'll use two numbers on top and two numbers here. So two numbers on top, two numbers that are less than 3, I use 1, 2, and two numbers that are larger than 3 are 4 and 5. And then connect all these 5 points based on what we had here. Vertex is 3, 0, and axis of symmetry is what we have here on this part for x, and that is 3. So this is vertex. That is vertex. Now how I got that one? Anything that is before power, so before that part, anything that you have before power, use that part equal to 0 and find x. For example, here in this case, before this power, we only have this part, x equal to 0. So that is axis of symmetry. And same thing here on this part. Before power, what we have is this one, x. So x equal to 0. That is axis of symmetry. So this is our graph, and our graph is upward. In general, f of x equal to 8 times x minus h squared plus k is parabola with vertex h comma k. So, and axis of symmetry x equal to h. So what we have here before this power is x minus h. So x minus h equal to 0. Solving for x, x is equal to h. So that is axis of symmetry. If a greater than 0, so this one, a greater than 0, the parabola opens upward. If a less than 0, the parabola opens downward. Example graph, f of x equal to x squared, g of x equal to 3x squared, and h of x equal to 1 over 2 times x squared. So here we have f of x equal to x squared. What that is, this is f of x equal to 1 times x squared plus 0. So a is 1. Now here we have 3 times x squared plus 0. So k is 0. And what we have for h is 0. Because here we have 3 times x minus 0 squared plus 0. This is what we have here for that one. And that is same for this one. So I will write same as what I did here. This is 1 times x minus 0 squared plus 0. This is h, this is k. Same thing here, h, k. Now for this one we have 1 over 2 times x minus 0 squared plus 0. So this is what we have here on this part. And that is same for all these questions that we had. So this is x minus 0 squared plus 0. This is h, this is k. We had vertex 0, 0. For this one, x minus 0 squared plus 2. Vertex is 0, comma 2. And this one here, x minus 3 squared plus 0. Vertex is 3, 0. So based on what we have for these functions, these graphs, the one that is in blue, that is for f, green is g, and red is for h. So if absolute value of a greater than 1, so this one is a, and absolute value of 3, that is 3, so 3 is greater than 1, and that is for what we have here for g. And g is narrow compared to all other graphs. If absolute value of a less than 1, the parabola will be wide. So this one, a is 1 over 2, and absolute value of 1 over 2 is equal to 1 over 2, and that is less than 1. And this is for h, that's this one. This is wider compared to all other graphs. And then finally, if absolute value of a equal to 1, this is a equal to 1, so absolute value of 1 is 1. So we're going to have same width as f of x equal to x squared, and this is what we have for this one, f. Next part, graph f of x equal to negative 3 times x squared. So here, a is negative. This graph, what we have for vertex, we have negative 3 times x minus 0 squared plus 0. So vertex is 0, 0. Axis of symmetry, x equal to 0, because this is what we have here on this board. And a is negative 3, and that is less than 0. So this graph is downward. And graphing, so our vertex is 0, 0. That is what we have here. In the middle, choose numbers, 2 numbers that are less than 0 and 2 numbers that are greater than 0 to have all these 5 points. So use these 3 points, and then we're going to have negative 2, negative 12 here, negative positive 2, negative 12 here. They can graph like this, but just make sure that when you click in points, you're not going to have a straight line on this point. So this is vertex, and our axis of symmetry is vertical line that's crossing vertex, and that is x equal to 0. Now here on this part, I'm going to find vertex axis of symmetry. We want to see if we have downward, upward. So vertex, here we have x plus 2 squared. What that means, this is x minus negative 2 squared plus 2. So this is h, that is k. So vertex is negative 2, positive 2. Axis of symmetry, x equal to negative 2 is what we have here. And this one is 1 times. So 1 times, here is 1. That means a is equal to 1. And it is positive. Because of that, this graph is upward. So, and absolute value of a is equal to 1. So same with as f of x equal to x squared. Next one, negative 2 times x minus 3 squared. Here we have plus 0. So that means vertex is negative 3, comma 0. Axis of symmetry, x equal to negative 3. And then here we have a is negative 2, that is less than 0. So this graph is downward. And here absolute value of a, so absolute value of negative 2, that is positive 2 is greater than 1. And this is narrower than x squared. And then number 3, f of x equal to negative 0.45 times x squared minus 5. So when we have here, a is negative 0.45 times x minus 0 squared minus 5. So vertex is 0, 5, axis of symmetry x equal to 0, a is negative 0.45, and that is less than 0, so our graph is downward. Absolute value of a is absolute value of negative 0.45, and that is positive 0.45, and this is less than 1. Because of that, this graph is wider than x squared. Maximum, minimum. We know the graph of quadratic function is parabola. If the parabola opens up, then the function has minimum. If the parabola opens down, then the function has maximum. So here example, we have f of x equal to 2 times x plus 3 squared minus 4. We're going to find a vertex, axis of symmetry, graph, and find maximum, minimum. So here vertex is -3, because here we have x minus -3, -3, comma -4. The axis of symmetry is x equal to -3, based on what we have here. Now, here in the middle we have our vertex, -3, -4. I used two numbers smaller and two numbers greater than -3, and then based on that, find y. So here we have these 5 points. Find them here and connect them to graph. This graph is upward. Because of that, we have minimum point. And minimum value is what we have on y-axis, and that is -4. So minimum value y equal to -4. F of x equal to negative x squared plus 4. So this one is negative times x minus 0 squared plus 4. Based on that, vertex is 0, 4. Here, axis of symmetry, x is 0, and a is -1, is coefficient of x squared, so it's -1, and that is less than 0, so this is downward, or we can write opens down. And then graph. So vertex is 0, 4. I'm using -1, -2, 1, 2. So we have negative times -2 squared plus 4. We have -2 squared is 4 times negative is -4 plus 4 is 0. We're going to have same answer for this one. Then we have negative times -1 squared plus 4. So that is negative times 1 plus 4. So that is 3. So here we have 3. And we're going to have the same thing here on this part. This vertex is here in the middle, and the answer that you have on top, you should have same thing here on this part. If you're not sure, it's better to check your answer. Okay, so finding all these 5 points, connect them to graph. And here this graph is downward, so we have maximum, and maximum is what we have here for y using vertex. So y is equal to +4. And this is what we have here on this part. So that point is 0, 4, y is 4. Now here we have quadratic function, f of x equal to ax squared plus bx plus c. A is not 0. So here on this part we have y-intercept, we have x-intercept. What y-intercept is, this point is where our graph crosses y-axis. And this point, x-axis, is where our graph crosses x-axis. For this one and this one, we have y-axis and x-axis, so we have y-intercept and x-intercept. Y-intercept is 0, comma, c, so based on what we have for y. And x-intercept is c, comma, 0. So for y-intercept, x is always equal to 0. For x-intercept, y is equal to 0. So here on the first part, having this graph and this one on left, for both of these, we don't have x-intercept because these graphs, they're not gonna cross x-axis. So no x-intercept, but we're gonna have y-intercept because this graph continues like this. They're gonna cross y-axis, so we have y-intercept. And both of these are upward. And then here on this part, let's assume that we have these two graphs. And again, we have y-intercept but no x-intercept. So here, no x-intercept, but our graph is downward. Same thing for this part. No x-intercept and graph downward. Steps for graphing. Determine whether parabola opens up or down. If a greater than 0, that's upward. If a less than 0, it's downward. Then find vertex, which is h, k. Find axis of symmetry, that is x equal to h. Find any x-intercept by solving f of x equal to 0. What this means, y equal to 0, and then find x. From then next step, for y-intercept, we have to find f of 0. What this means, let x equal to 0, and then find y. And finally, plot the vertex, intercept any additional point, then graph. Example 1, graph f of x equal to negative times x minus 1 squared plus 4. Identify vertex, intercept, axis of symmetry, minimum or maximum value. So here on this part, a is equal to negative 1, so that is a. And it's less than 0. Because of that, this graph opens down. Vertex is what we have here. So it's 1, 4. Axis of symmetry is x equal to 1. Then finding x-intercept, let f of x equal to 0. So we have 0 equal to negative times x minus 1 squared plus 4. And we want to solve for x. So we have to isolate x. Subtract 4 from both sides. We have negative 4 equal to negative times x minus 1 squared. And then I should eliminate that one. So divide by negative 1 both sides. So we're going to have 4 equal to x minus 1 squared. Now we have to eliminate this power. Because of having 2, we have to use the square root on both sides. So square root of x minus 1 squared is equal to x minus 1 square root of 4 negative 2 positive 2. And then solving for x, so add 1 to both sides. We're going to have x equal to, here we have negative 2 positive 2, so it's negative 2 plus 1 and positive 2 plus 1. So the answer for x is negative 1 positive 3. Based on that, our x-intercept, when y is 0, x is 3. When y is 0, x is negative 1. So we have these 2 points, 3, 0, negative 1, 0. And y-intercept, this is when x is 0. And then solve for y. So that means we have to find f of 0, that is negative times 0 minus 1 square plus 4. So that is equal to, we have negative times negative 1 square plus 4. That is negative 1 square is positive 1 times negative is negative 1. Negative 1 plus 4 is positive 3. So here we have 3 when x is 0. 0, 3, that is y-intercept. So based on these 3 points for x-intercept, y-intercept, and vertex is 1, 4, we can graph. So this is vertex. Then we have 3, 0. We have -1, 0. And we have 0, 3. This is axis of symmetry. And that is x equal to 1. Based on what we have for axis of symmetry, I have this point for y-intercept. I can mirror that to the other side of axis of symmetry. So we're going to have +2, +3. So 2, 3 is that point. Now we have all these 5 points, and then we can connect them. And this point is maximum. So here we have max. And the value is based on what we have vertex. Here y is equal to 4. So value is 4. But if parabola is not in the form of a times x minus h squared plus k, but in this form, f of x equal to ax squared plus bx plus c. So we need to use the vertex formula to obtain vertex. So vertex formula, we have -b divided by 2a. This is what we have for h. And then f of -b over 2a, this is what we have for k. So if we use what we have here, hk, this is how we can find our vertex, but we're not going to say hk, but instead -b divided by 2a, comma, f of -b over 2a. Now here, example, find the vertex of f of x equal to x squared minus 4x minus 12. So to find what we have for x, here we have -b over 2a. So negative b is -4. 2 times a is 1. So that is 4 over 2 is equal to 2. Now use 2 to find f of 2. So f of -b over 2a, and that is f of 2. So here finding y is equal to f of 2. So it's 2 squared minus 4 times 2 minus 12. This is 4 minus 8 minus 12. This is -16. So vertex is 2, -16. Find vertex of f of x equal to 1 over 3x squared minus 6x. So here, in this case, x equal to -b over 2a. So b is coefficient of x, and that is -6. 2 times a is 1/3. That's 6 over 2/3. So that is equal to 6 times 3 over 2. And that is equal to 9. Now finding f of 9. So y is equal to 1/3 times 9 squared minus 6 times 9. So this is 1/3 times 81 minus 54. And that is equal to 27 minus 54. So the answer is negative 27. And based on that, vertex is 9, negative 27. Graph f of x equal to negative x squared minus 2x minus 1. Find vertex, intercept, axis of symmetry, minimum or maximum value. So here vertex x equal to negative b over 2a. That is equal to negative times b is negative 2 divided by 2 times a is negative 1. So what we have for x is negative 1. And then finding y, we have to find f of negative b over 2a. So find f of negative 1. So we have negative times negative 1 squared minus 2 times negative 1 minus 1. So what we have for y is 0. So this means vertex is negative 1, 0. Now finding y-intercept, x equal to 0. So for f of x, that means we have to find f of 0. So instead of x, use 0. What we have for y is negative 1. So f of 0 is negative 1. That means y-intercept is 0, negative 1. And then x-intercept, f of x equal to 0. So what we have for f of x is negative x squared minus 2x minus 1. So that is equal to 0. And then divide by negative 1. So divide by coefficient of x squared. Here we have x squared plus 2x plus 1 equal to 0. Factor, we have x plus 1 times x plus 1 equal to 0. Solving for x, so x plus 1 equal to 0. X is negative 1. And again, x plus 1 equal to 0. Solving for x, x is negative 1. So what we have for x-intercept, x negative 1 and y is 0. So here x-intercept negative 1, 0. Vertex is negative 1, 0, axis of symmetry, x equal to negative 1. Here a is negative 1. So that is less than 0. That means this graph opens down. Graph is downward. That means we have maximum. And value is what we have here for vertex, y is equal to 0. Now graphing vertex is negative 1, 0. X-intercept again is negative 1, 0 because this is where our graph crosses the x-axis. And then y-intercept 0, negative 1. So I only have these 2 points, but I know that this is vertex and we're going to have axis of symmetry crossing this point. And based on axis of symmetry, using this point that we have, we can mirror that to the other side of axis of symmetry. So this point is negative 2, negative 1. And then we can find 2 more points, or we can connect these this way, but make sure that when connecting here we don't have straight line. And that point is max. So maximum value, and based on this one, maximum value is 0. And here is where our vertex is -1, 0. Graph f of x equal to x squared minus 4x plus 6. Identify vertex, intercept, axis of symmetry, minimum or maximum value. So here, finding vertex, x is equal to -b divided by 2a. b is -4. A is coefficient of x squared, and that is equal to 1. So we have negative times -4 divided by 2 times 1. That is equal to +2. Then find f of 2, or f of -b over 2a. So y is equal to 2 squared minus 4 times 2 plus 6. And that is equal to 4 minus 8 plus 6. So y is +2. That means vertex is 2, 2. Then next step, finding x-intercept, let y equal to 0. So we have x squared minus 4x plus 6 equal to 0. Use quadratic formula to find x. So x equal to -b, negative positive square root of b squared minus 4 times a times c divided by 2a. b is a -4, a is 1, and c is 6. So we have negative times -4, negative positive square root of -4 squared minus 4 times a is 1, c is 6, divided by 2 times a is 1. So we have negative times negative is +4, then we have -4 squared is 16, -4 times 1 times 6 is -24. So here inside square root we have 16 minus 24, and then divided by 2. So what we have here on top, we have 4 negative positive square root of 16 minus 24, that is -8. Because of having negative number here inside radical, we're going to have imaginary number. We can stop here. We don't need to find that point, because if we have imaginary number, that means we're not able to use that point to graph. So we can write x, no x-intercept. But here we have what the answer is. So we have 4 negative positive. We have square root of -1 times square root of 4 times square root of 2. So this is square root of -8. So square root of -1 is I, square root of 4 is 2, and then square root of 2. And here in denominator we have 2. So simplify, we have 4 over 2, that is +2, negative positive, 2i times square root of 2 divided by 2, simplify that part. We're going to have I times square root of 2. So the answer here is 2, negative positive, I square root of 2. This is what we have for x-intercept, but that is imaginary, so we're not able to use that. That's why here I say that is the no x-intercept. So no x-intercept for this one. No x-intercept. And then y-intercept. Is when x is equal to 0. So finding f of 0, we have 0 squared minus 4 times 0 plus 6. So that is equal to 6. Meaning that here we have 0, 6. And vertex is 2, 2. Axis of symmetry is x equal to 2. And here a is equal to 1. So this graph opens up. So graph is upward, that means we're gonna have minimum point. And the value is based on what we have here, and that is 2. So here we have vertex that is in the middle, and use 2 numbers for x that are less than 2 and 2 numbers that are greater than 2. So I choose 0, 1 less than 2 and 3, 4 greater than 2. And based on that we can find y. So x equal to 4, y is 6, x equal to 3, y is 3, and then we're gonna have same answers here on this part and the other side of vertex. So vertex is 1, 2, 1, 2. We have 2, 2, that's the vertex, and then we have 3, 3, 1, 3. Then we have 0, 6. And then we have 4, 6. We have all these points and then connect these. So this one is vertex, and we have minimum value, which is equal to 2.